So if you follow my channels for any length of time, you know that I am primarily a storyteller. But one of the reasons I got into storytelling was because I'm an avid reader. I've read from I was a young kid to now I read every single day. And so I thought because today is National Independent Bookstore Day, I'd give some book recommendations. My first recommendation, probably no surprise to anybody, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Alvin Schwartz is the guy who wrote it, but Stephen Gamble is the guy who does the artwork. The stories themselves are very short, and they're mostly like, think about it like urban legend stories. Some of them are spooky, but some of them are funny and silly, and they're definitely geared more towards kids. This is something I read as a kid, read my kids, but the artwork is what makes this book awesome. Very, very cool. You should check this out if you've never checked it out. Second book is a book that got me through high school. Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I'm telling you, if you have a teenager in your life, this is a great coming-of-age story. It tackles some really heavy material and in some ways that you probably can't talk about with your kids. This is great. Third series is the series that got me into fantasy, Dark Tower series by Stephen King. If you've never read the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, very different from a lot of his other stuff. Instead of being like horror, like most of his stuff, this is more like fantasy meets Western. And it's just such an epic tale. And it ties almost all of his other books together. There's so many other books that make appearances in this. Characters, scenes, just different connections and stuff like that. If you've never read Dark Tower, amazing series by Stephen King. My last recommendation that I'm going to give is going to come with a caveat. This is supposed to be a trilogy. The third book has not been written. The second book came out almost 15 years ago. So I pray to God every day that this book series gets finished because it's my absolute favorite in the world, and that is the Kingkiller Chronicles, both The Wise Man's Fear and The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. My favorite book series of all time, even though it's incomplete. These are signed copies I got from my wife for Christmas, by the way. One of my treasured possessions. So this series is basically like you have a guy who's like a legend and he's supposed to be dead. But he has faked his death and he's hiding out. And this is his retelling of his life story. So this is like somebody who's had this totally incredible, epic life. And there are all of these tales about him. And you're learning the truth behind the tales. And the reason I love the series is because there's just no words out of place. You'll hear a poem that sounds like a nonsense poem on page 10, and in the second book, halfway through, there will be some other obscure thing, and they'll reference each other. And so, yeah, it's just so well written. And so those are just a few of mine. I'm a huge reader. Like I said, I constantly am reading, and so I love fantasy. If you guys have recommendations, shoot them my way. But that's just a few books for National Independent Bookstore Day. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you around the campfire.